Your stocks are up 17% right now. Andre, your thoughts on how it's trading on a day when most of the other Asian markets are down?
No, I think we're excited to see the response from the investors. We saw a significant oversubscription yesterday during the book building, and then the excitement continues even today. It's great to have our users who became investors, so they really understand about the company, and maybe it's actually reflected to today's performance.
The goal for GoTo has always been a dual listing, including one in the U.S. Give us an update on where those plans are right now.
Yeah, so the plan is always dual listing. So we're internally preparing all the requirements to be able to go into the second listing venue. Time is TBD. Market is obviously all over the place, but at the very least, we're preparing things internally.
There's a lot of questions from investors about profitability. You've seen it amongst some of your rivals like Grab. That's been one of the key factors in why some of these stocks are underperforming right now. Andre, what can you tell us about GoTo's path to profitability, and what time frame can you give us?
Yeah, no, I think, I always believe business that generates internal cash flow will obviously become sustainable, and that's always the aim for us as well. Where we are now investing in many things by leveraging the synergies between Gojek and Tokopedia to actually create differentiation and allowing us to actually maintain capability in growing while actually also becoming much more efficient. Timing, obviously, I couldn't say much in this forum, but obviously this is kind of the focus area for the management team.
There's a lot of debate about your valuation as well. Some saying it's even beaten or even higher than some of those companies that I mentioned, Grab or who have been battered by this tech rout we've been seeing globally. Can you walk us through the process on the rationale on deciding to go public despite what we've been seeing in the tech space these days?
Yeah, no, there's the strategy that we chose always to start with the local market. Why? Because a lot of the potential investors are mostly users of GoTo, either it's Gojek, Tokopedia, or GoPay. That allows a lot of the right education and understanding about what we do and what the potentials are. It's also helpful because the Indonesian market is performing really well. The country is actually very stable. We're recovering a lot of the growth from a country perspective, especially post-COVID. Currency is stable, and the capital market is actually the best performing in the world right now. At the end, there's never the perfect timing. What's important is actually to begin the journey. We don't see this as a finish line, it's another starting line. So we just took the opportunity and go to the market.
Andre, you're operating amid surging oil prices. Has that impacted your operations in any way in terms of costs?
Yeah, there's always some impact, but obviously there's actually different in different parts of the products and the business. What's good is actually the country is actually, as mentioned, there's a lot of momentum in terms of growth, especially on domestic consumption. We, as a platform, we cover a lot of basic needs of users. So that things that is not aspirational, things that they have to actually do on a daily basis, and then we deliver a product that is much more efficient. So I think a lot of that has been, kind of very resilient in terms of the impact.
Talk to us about your digital bank ambitions. What's the strategy to stay ahead of the curve, stay ahead of the competition, especially given that fintech is becoming an increasingly important component of your business?
Yeah, no, I think we're lucky in GoTo Financial. We have the most complete kind of ecosystem, especially for financial services. And we're also lucky that we can rely with the strength of our sister companies. Gojek and Tokopedia brings a lot of value in terms of leveraging that into the right credit scoring capability to actually for us being able to offer the right targeted products for our users. So I think this is a very important piece of the strategy and something that we're investing really deeply to continue to be able to cater for a lot of the users' needs.
And Andre, I want to get your take on overseas expansion. We know Indonesia accounts for a big chunk of your sales right now, but in your prospectus, you mentioned about how you have a presence in other Southeast Asia markets as well, the likes of Vietnam, Singapore. Are there any plans to diversify your revenue beyond just Indonesia?
Well, first of all, I think in Singapore and Vietnam, our Gojek business is growing really fast over the year. And I think, those are, things that we are quite proud of. And eventually, obviously with the merger with Tokopedia, the focus is actually to leverage and build product differentiation. And then actually that can capture a lot of the synergy. But once we do it, we do want to kind of introduce those wide array of offering like we have in Indonesia to the other markets as well. So it's just a matter of when and timing for us to be able to expand more aggressively.
And you mentioned a little bit about the fintech space, the competition there, but GoTo faces tough competition in all fronts, whether it's, you look at Shopee, you have Lazada, when it comes to e-commerce, you have Grab and ride sharing and whatnot, ride hailing, I should say. What do you think is going to be the strategy to tackle all these sorts of segments to make sure that GoTo is on top?
No, I think we want to focus within. I think we're the most complete and diversified use cases that is congregated into one company. The flexibility in being able to utilize all the components of the business is to create something that's differentiating is actually very clear. Over the last 6 months after the merger, we've seen a lot of better than expected results from a lot of the synergies. And we believe that with the right focus and execution, we will be able to kind of really differentiate ourselves. And more importantly, for the users, they will get the significant benefit as an ecosystem.